Sublime magnificence.
Hey guys, you know who it is, what's going on, when it's happening, where it's at, and why we're here today. How you doing? It is I, the sublimely magnificent Big Ugly himself, Omari Ellis Feo Grande on YouTube, back with another episode of This Guy Hasn't Seen. And as usual, I am joined by my co-host and running one of my best friends in the world, El Director himself, Bill Smith.
Hey Omari, thank you for having me back. As always, love being here. Love doing this thing, this little movie club that we got going on where we trade these things back and forth. One guy's seen, one guy hasn't. This guy hasn't seen. This guy hasn't seen this week.
Oh yes, and surprisingly so. Somewhat surprisingly so. I mean, it's a recent movie, so I can kind of see it, but it stars a very common entry on this channel, very common participant and actor in these films that we cover.
So
One
common it was
John,
last week.
so common it was last week because it was time to talk about him. And I figured, you know what, it was time to keep talking about him. Jean-Claude Van Damme. As we cover his film from 2023, 2023, 22, something along that line. Recent, The Last Mercenary.
The Last Mercenary from 2021, a mysterious former Secret Service agent must urgently return to France when his estranged son is falsely accused of arms and drug trafficking by the government, following a blunder by an overzealous bureaucrat and a mafia operation. It is directed by David Charhan and it is written by David Charhan and Ismail C. Savan. And it stars Jean-Claude Van Damme, Albin Ivanov, and Samir Dekaza. Omari, I can assume why you chose this. How did it come to you before that?
Work. About 2021.
Right. You've referred to several times of
Yeah,
phases at work
similar.
where just like Netflix things were just kind of playing.
Yeah, and it's given us some good things as well as it's given us some ups and downs on this channel. It's given us
Yeah.
Molly's Game, which we talked about that. It also gave us RRR. And so there's that. And this time one of the movies he gave me was The Last Mercenary, which obviously caught my eyes because Jean-Claude Van Damme was in it. And at the time, I don't think we were just starting the channel or we hadn't started it yet. So I still hadn't seen a lot of his stuff, but I had heard the man's name. I knew he was Guile in Street Fighter 2 and stuff like that. And so I'm like, oh, a modern day movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Why not? And as we started covering them, I was just like, man, Bloodsport's such a classic. I'm not going to bring The Last Mercenary to Bloodsport. Oh, Kickboxer, such a classic. I'm not bringing The Last Mercenary with no fucking Kickboxer. Time Cop, I could have.
Yeah, you might have been able to pull this out for Time Cop.
Time Cop, I could have. But last week we decided it was time for the quest, and I'm like, if it's time for the quest, it's time for The Last Mercenary. And so I was like, I covered it. I had asked you if you had seen it. You were like, no, not a lot of modern Jean Claude was it your thing. I try to look for niches that he hasn't seen. He's seen a lot more than me. This is the guy that hasn't seen, despite it being my channel. But I was like, you know what? John Claude, I was in a mood after last week to keep watching some John Claude and figured why not do the time jump to now? Well, yeah. Last Mercenary. You hear it's modern day Jean-Claude Van Damme, and you hear that it's time after watching The Quest. What are you expecting?
Um, the last modern Jean-Claude Van Damme I got into, I want to guess was like 2013 Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Okay.
Um, let's see, I think I'm seeing 2016 maybe. Uh, No, it was 2012, 2013. And those Jean-Claude Van Dammes were all very dark, broody Jean-Claude Van Damme's where he's usually the villain now, and it's a lot of let's minimize what Jean-Claude has to do kind of stuff. So like it's like let's put how many interesting places can we film Jean-Claude quietly meditating?
Fair.
Ominously. Like I feel like one of those movies in there was very much that. Um, and yeah, and just a lot of like because he can't quite do the action stuff anymore, and he's not exactly an orator. Um, and so that was my memory of modern Jean-Claude, and that's what I was kind of preparing myself for. And then at one point, earlier today, before I had watched the film, you messaged me mentioning that it was a French film and just
Yes,
letting
that
me
was
know
yeah,
that
that
it
became
was
new to me, but we had been watching a lot of John Claude speaking English, and for better or worse, I enjoyed John Claude speaking English, so I
yeah,
figured I'm gonna watch it in English. But yes, apparently the original version is in French. It's all in French. It's apparently a French film. And when
yes.
looking at the credits, yeah, the majority of the
Um
cast.
so at the time that only kind of reaffirmed my going in expectations in from an ignorant standpoint. I immediately just reaffirmed like okay, this is going to be more on the artsy, dark, like kind of vibes I want to bet. um yeah,
Yeah,
that's kind of what I was expecting.
fair enough. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and hop into it. So the movie starts, and we got a man with a bag on his head. How we feeling? Just real reactions to like the opening scenes of the movie or
Yeah,
opening.
I mean, my first note tonight was hot start. Hot start. I love a hot start. There's no reason why every movie, particularly action films, obviously, but I mean, there's no reason why we can't, boom, just go right into it. Um, unless your movie is specifically about pacing me out slowly, and you have a few things that you want to show me in
Yeah.
that regard. Um, yeah, man, let's get to it.
Yeah.
Boom.
And of course, the first shot we see of John Claude is him doing the splits because it's the John Claude Van Damme
Yeah.
split. But yeah, quite the start. Just coming out, just throws a guy, just saves a guy and throw him out the window. Hilarious in that regard. And then he says something about think about the mist. You don't know if it's there. Aha! And jumps out the window too. I'm just like, what the? All right, this is a good
You
start
can
to the
see it,
movie.
but you can never catch it.
There it is. You can see it, but you can never catch it. But and he'll go on to do a lot of proverbs this movie. That's his character quirk this movie is he just cites random proverbs. But yeah, and we immediately cut to 80s, a taste of the 80s as we're listening to Push It to the Limit with a fucking car chase to talk about your thing. And we see one of our villains from the movie, a dude who's way too obsessed with Scarface.
Like that is his character. His character is one sentence, like rich guy obsessed with Scarface.
And I don't even mean like, he's a Scarface inspired character. I mean, the character in the movie gets called out for always trying to quote Scarface when he's talking to people and trying to be the guy.
Yep.
Um,
He looks like him. He drives his car. He wears his suits. He wants to be called Tony. He he's
he watches the
ridiculous.
movie in his downtime, just.
Yeah, it seems like basically on repeat. Yeah.
But yes. And of course, you mentioned the inciting incident in the summary of the movie. Random bureaucrat. And people are embezzling money. I'm gonna end it. Which leads to it messing up the life of our main character, which is John Claude's son, who
Right.
is
Archie.
Archie. He's here. He's a bit annoying for me for a lot of the movie. Like there's a lot of it where I get as the plot plays out how he feels. And I'm like, I get it. I do. But read the room. Read the situation, motherfucker.
Right.
Like read the situation. Um But yeah, we get introduced to the people in the plot. When they first start talking about the backstory, where it's like, oh yes, he killed a lot of people in the cup and ball incident, and so and so, so and so. Just their names for things in this movie had me laughing, like the cup and ball incident, the big MacGuffin being called the Big Mac. And I'm like, okay, not only is it you think it's
Big
product
Mac.
placement, but they end up like there's a Big Mac box at one point. There's another part where some dude just straight up goes, I could use some Mickey D's right now. I'm like, okay. They knew exactly what they were doing. It's like easy product placement. Let's call our MacGuffin the Big Mac, which is like which is an EMP device, pretty much. It's like a subtle EMP device.
Right.
But yeah, we go through the intro, dude surrogate we find out why dude wasn't in his son's life and all of that because the wife was upset that he cheated on her. And so he's like, fine, give her whatever she wants. Raise him under government protection, full immunity from all crime, with a babysitter to watch it there as well. Just have everything taken care of for this kid, a monthly allowance for the rest of
Yeah.
his life. But because they were so scared of the cup and ball incident being revealed to the world, they're like, we got to do it. And I'm not sure if that's the wife that dude slept with of the other dude, where he's like, "You slept with my wife" the whole movie, or if
Oh
that
no,
was
yeah,
just
I
some
think
other
that's just
lady.
another lady.
Which I think he has a sick burn on the guy one time where he's like, "Well, it's like your wife says, you can't go on the battle. You're not good on the battlefield because you don't have the right equipment." And hung up on his ass. I'm like, "Damn, dude's not even just being paranoid. You literally just called him to be like, yeah, that's right. I fucked your wife years ago. Bye." Uh,
Yeah.
But yeah, we meet the characters. We meet Delilah, black chick that's a friend or an acquaintance of the dude that ends up hanging out with Richard early on because dude gets arrested because his immunity drops
Yeah.
because Scarface has been using his immunity and using his identity to hide behind his immunity and stuff, but in a public light.
Hmm.
And so it's like, oh, he ain't got no immunity? Arrest this motherfucker. No, doesn't matter that he doesn't look anything like his passport. Because the fake passport the guy got with his name.
Hmm.
Guy got his own face and stuff. He don't look nothing like the guy that's been using this passport to do evil shit. But we're gonna arrest him. Um, anyway, Jean-Claude breaks him out. We have our typical, I should probably tell you the truth, but I'm not gonna throughout the movie. Um,
Right.
yeah, but damn, a lot of my notes are really on. But like early on, oh yeah, early in the movie, we actually get a scene of John Claude doing the fucking dancing just to talk about like stand down moments.
Yeah. That it's fun to get the Jean-Claude Dance call back. Um he looked rough in that scene. Like there's one of my other notes in here is Jean-Claude's hairline and facial skin tone in this movie. There's a couple of different scenes where he is so white on his face, or his face is just such strongly a different color from everything else. And then his hair is so interesting because he looks better in the ridiculous wigs that his character puts on for disguises than
That is
the
actual.
wig that he's wearing. Like that is a hairpiece that's chosen to look like that. Um I mean, hey, strike me down if I'm wrong, but I feel like that is very clearly still also a wig slash hairpiece to cover up the balding that I can get behind. But if you're
At least
gonna
make
do
it
a
look good.
wig, don't don't make it look like that. But maybe it's a very French in nature styling that I'm not thinking about, or I don't know. I don't know,
Very
but I
well could
really
be.
didn't care for his hair in his natural state of his character. Um, and then I would have specifically the scene where he's dancing. I think because of the club lights or something happened to like I don't know like illuminate his face makeup in that moment. And so he looks rough. He looks rough. But I do one of my notes, one of my standout moments is just there's not a crazy amount of fights in this film, crazy amount of fighting in this film. Um, but I feel like they do a pretty good job in this film of showcasing what Jean-Claude can do still, but also covering him up with doubles
And stunt
that aren't
actors.
you know they're doubles because it's you know you're that's not
Yeah.
going to happen perfectly. Um uh I mean, you know, $1 billion budget Marvel movies, you can still be like, that's not Chris Evans. Um, uh, so that's just going to be a fact of life. But I feel like they do a really good job in the fight scenes of showcasing Jean-Claude when they can, giving him his close-ups, making it feel like it's still him.
Yeah, I agree. And like a lot of the stunt actors, the things they do it like in a smart way where let's not have a shot of this stunt actor's face where you could be like, no, it's like from behind where it's like, I am 90% sure that is a stunt actor because if it was John Claude, it would be from the front. That said, it doesn't take me out of the scene to where I'm like, stunt actor. It's just, yeah, John Claude's whooping someone else's ass.
Yeah,
Like he beat up the
yeah.
bullies early on to show who he was. I did think it was funny when he broke his son out and they had the car chase. They start playing one way or another. The song choices in this movie kind of cracked me up just
Uh-huh.
because it was like it wanted to be a time capsule from like the 80s and 90s, but
Yeah.
it was made in 2021 or
Yeah.
in the 2020s.
I mean, like the graphics of the credits, opening and ending, like yeah, the movie poster, the like the thumbnailing on Netflix and everything. Yeah, they this is this is a this is like a love letter to Jean-Claude Van Damme movies and that era of movies too. The movie theater later on, where
Yeah.
he where we even have a blood sport.
Yeah, the arcade where he walks in, he's like, "That's my boy," as he
But
points
we're
to
talking
him.
about the villain. Like I don't understand it there.
Because the
Uh
villain's pretending to be his son.
yeah,
And so
I
he's like,
guess
I guess that's the boy I wanted. Like a boy, because he had that heart to heart moment where the son was like, you've been an absentee father my whole life, and he's like, well, you're a disappointment of a son. How about that? I wanted my son to be a man, and you a little bitch. Well, damn. I don't think that's the way you respond to deadbeat accusations, but you did
I love it. I love it and am annoyed by it at the same time. I don't know. I don't
it.
know. Because like what are we also saying? Like are we saying that the assassin character is fake Jean-Claude Van Damme in our world? Like Jean the like whatever his name
Yeah.
is doing mercenary jobs and also in his free time in the 80s made some movies. Uh
Oh, that'd
uh
be funny if he's like, "Oh yeah, he's got me on the wall," or he's just. I
yeah,
think he
well, I
just
mean,
he. I think
because
he
it's
just. I think the
Bloodsport,
character's just a John
and
Claude
it's not
Van
just
Damme fan. I think he's a separate character, but he's just a fan of John Claude.
Jean-Claude Van Damme
Yeah,
also separately exists in this world.
yeah. And he's like, he likes movies like this. I can get behind him, type
Okay,
of shit.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
got
I can
good
get that.
taste.
Yeah,
But I can also see where you're coming from. I did also think it was funny when a girl tried to fist bump him to be like, we're a team now. And he did the typical hand covered fist bump. Like, I don't do that type deal. Or he's not saying he doesn't do that, but you can tell with that, that's not his thing. I'm like, okay. But yeah, there's the movies going on. Obviously, there's the government trying to arrest John Claude as well as his son, and as well as use him as a patsy for a whole bunch of other shit, including this Big Mac sale. Meanwhile, Scarface has a minion that works for the government who's been working with him, probably told him about the immunity so that he could abuse it. And that guy had a patsy as his quote unquote boss, the dude that Lazaire or something like that, the dude that wiped the immunity clean. Uh Minion dude, he's okay. He's apparently our I'm in a movie and I don't get this. Why are you doing these movie things and this movie type things? Of course you do this. This is a movie. That's his character. He just commentates half the stuff going on. Like when Scarface calls him and he's like trying to talk, he's like, yes, 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 I know the line. It's from Scarface. That's all you talk about. Look, we gotta move the so. It's like, okay, that's his deal. And he's okay throughout the movie. I think he does his job all right. The guy
Yeah.
that wiped the immunity away, he's an idiot, and boy is he.
Hmm.
I don't know how much we were paying attention to the screen during the scooter scene, because the movie probably would have been turned off because it's at work and it's a dude riding around on a scooter in his drawers.
Oh.
You know what I mean? It's like this is a workplace. Get this off the screen. But I don't know if I was on a call or what, and I didn't see that particular, or I didn't quite recall that scene. But he just throughout the movie, he was like he did what his character was written to be. Be the dumb guy to say the wrong thing at the wrong time or do something, but randomly come up clutch. You know, what is it? Serenity? Not no serendipity. When you
Sure.
accidentally become successful, though you're
Yeah.
stupid. Yeah, he's one of those. So, but that's cool. You got two other guys that are always on the front trying to attack Jean Claude, the two secret agent dudes.
Yeah.
I love it when they blow up the house and then they get in the car and they had that moment where he's like, "We just exploded the mist." Yeah. And start losing this shit. And I'm like, you know what? If I thought that somebody was a legendary assassin that you can't even photograph, he ain't been photographed since middle school. And and I just blew him up and killed everybody when no one's been able to even see this man. Yeah, I'd probably pop off too and feel real good about myself. He did that shit. Yeah. Obviously, it's short-lived and all.
Right. I would say, yeah, at this point, once we get, I would say it starts to get a little muddled
Yeah.
once we get like, yeah, I feel like we could slice off a few characters,
Well,
but
I was just talking about that moment because I thought it was funny.
oh no, no, I'm saying like the movie
Oh, yeah.
could slice off. Like once you get to Jean-Claude, his son, the friend that's a girl, her brother, Scarface, the nerd helping Scarface, the fumbling assistant of the nerd helping Scarface, and then they all start intertwining. The movie is a little
Yeah. I
it starts to get messy. It
yeah.
starts to get messy, but I'm not enjoying it. And spoiler,
Yeah.
I don't know if we've gone into detail yet on it's not what I was expecting at all. I would say um this feels very much like the movies that Jackie Chan was making when he was going back to China after he started making American produced f movies as well. And he was kind of going back and forth. Like I can't think of what like the Yes Man or
Something like
Who
that.
Am I
Hmm.
you know those kind of films. It feels like it's a little bit comedy. It's a little bit it's like Jean-Claude's like kind of like all of his fights are like, whoa, I'm an old guy that's
Yeah.
like
I fight
doing
only when necessary type,
defensively
and killing
based
only
fight.
kills, or killing just kills, so I don't kill type
And he
shit.
doesn't do drugs.
And he doesn't do
What was up with
drugs.
that moment?
Yeah, because she was like talking about her brother, like, he's a drug dealer. So. Drugs. I've done a lot of things in my life.
Never a drop of drug.
Okay, man.
Hey, cool,
It ain't
bro.
that serious, bro.
I'm pretty sure they talked earlier that it's weed.
Yeah,
Weed,
it,
bro.
it is weed. Which Momo, the brother, that guy, I like him. I didn't think I would. He
Never
grew on me, but I love that guy. He was
done
hilarious.
drugs.
Fair enough. But he yeah, the weed guy, he was funny throughout it because he was there to just say random lines. I liked when he was trying to be the waiter and under disguise, and he's just like not serving anybody.
Yeah. Like, I mean, the party I feel like is the epitome of the back half of this film of just like overcomplication for unnecessary reasons. Like all of this overcomplication for very simple actions at the end of the day that could have happened pretty easily, kind of things. I feel like the party is a lot of that. Like it's random and I like the weird minion being into pole dancing. And then his it even took me a second in the final fight when he comes in and saves the day. I was like, "Oh wow, he knows how to fight?"
Yeah,
Oh, wait a second, it was a pole dance move.
I had to
Okay.
rewind
And
it
then
to see
he
it again
confirmed it
too
with
to
his
be like, yeah,
dialogue.
it's like, yeah, I did it. Dialogue was, oh shit, he just did the pole dance move. Wait a minute. Yeah, they actually brought him back up and made it practical. He's like, well, I'm not warmed up, you know. I
Yeah.
said that earlier, so it could be better. And John Claude's just very supportive the whole time whenever he brought up the pole dancing. It's really athletic. Build your dorsal muscles. So. Um, but yeah, part of the removing the characters later in the movie because or needing to remove the characters because it got muddled. I think that's part of why they were just like, yeah, Scarface had was forced to go home, so he's not actually in town anymore. So we're gonna pretend to be Scarface to get the Big Mac deal done. Then we have the old lady who we didn't mention in our muddlement of characters, who
Right.
his
Because
his
then
old
Marguerite gets
ally.
ended up adding into this.
Yeah, his old ally from back in the day who apparently sucks at everything she does now because she keeps fucking
Mm.
up in every mission,
And I didn't
including
even mention the two old guys back at the sea of monitors,
yeah,
the
that's
dark
the one
room
of I
filled with
mentioned one of them,
monitors.
the guy that whose wife got boned by John Claude.
Right.
There's the other one who seems to be a fan of John Claude's character
And then the
that is like
minister
reluctant.
lady,
The
uh,
minister lady. Oh yeah, they were just there. I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, but oh.
somehow the minion's grandfather is heavily related to Jean-Claude Van Damme and the cup and ball incident
Like he's the guy that
as
was the
well.
public patsy
Like
for it.
things we don't need.
Yeah, he's
Like
like
this
the
is all
public
things.
patsy for it.
Yeah. Like it's
We
all
don't need
things
it, but they at least try to
that
allude to like like it's like superfluous that we have it to begin with, but they try to make it feel like it's not. Like early when he does the deleting of the thing, he looks at the picture of his grandfather and he's like,
yeah.
"On your honor, grandfather, I'm gonna make you proud." and does it. And then we find out what he means by that because his grandfather was a legendary patsy for the cup and ball incident who got screwed over by the government. But But yeah, old lady who when they had the pool scene, which was unnecessarily complicated, you could have had any microphone record this dude. You're a master of disguise who has not been even photographed since middle school. No one's gonna fucking notice you, apparently, if you go into a place.
That's what I was
So
thinking about when they were celebrating killing him. I was like, how would you know?
you didn't really look for the and they had the guy like, did you find any bodies?
You could just kill anybody and say that you caught and killed the mist. Who could say no?
So he yeah, but when he was like trying to film it with the microphone, but he had the old lady in the water and she's like drowning and pulling her like, come on, you're ruining the mic. You're selling it too hard. I'm not selling it. I'm actually drowning. Oh God. Turns out, in the climax of the movie, she was faking it. She wasn't a scrub the whole time. She was actually the fucking nerd minion's mother. Like Scarface's accomplice's mother. That's who she was this whole time. And she had her line earlier when he asked her for parent advice. She's like, I wouldn't know. I'm not a mother, but you shouldn't really be on this case
Also, hold
anymore.
on. He was just a normal person in France. He went to high school. He had to go to the military and like go through the military traditionally before they discovered, oh, you're something special. And then he gets elevated into secret services and all of that. Like he would have been photographed officially several times.
He doesn't necessarily avoid, you don't really see him trying to avoid
Yeah,
cameras
he's
or
just walking
anything.
around
Any
all over the
security
place.
camera, traffic cam could have caught this dude. And that's what I'm saying. If you've never been even photographed or on a camera, you clearly can blend in enough to
Uh,
get close enough to record this dude without having to do the elaborate I'm helping an old lady who's swimming in the pool type gimmick. And he's like, mission aborted. And then the son comes in, I do what I want. Guy stole my identity.
yeah.
Get the
That's what
bathroom.
that's partly one of the thing that's one of the things that I love so much about the Jackie Chan films is because his character is either a complete idiot to excuse a lot of the things that go on, or the movie is designed very quickly to be like, well, yes, he does have this giant reputation as the last great mercenary, but we're going to show you within the first 5 minutes that he completely fumbles and lucks in to everything that he's earned. And he's just an egomaniac now because of that, or something like that. Instead of, and so that's how you could like
Yeah.
get around,
Balance
like,
it.
you could allow Jackie Chan to just like have a fun walk and talk scene with Michelle Yeoh in the middle of a mall, even though he's supposed to be a super spy and all of
Yeah.
this stuff. But like it's yeah, instead you have to just be like, oh no, come on, it's just a popcorn movie. Like they're allowed to
Yeah.
excuse, you know, sure, he's a super spy that's just like, yeah, setting up shop very obviously with his own real name to some random girl that he's never met before. And like all they would have to do is walk up to this random girl and be like, hey, have you seen anybody do karate named Steven recently? And she'd be like, oh, yeah, this new guy that actually just moved in yesterday did a bunch of karate. I actually told him that he looks like he moves like a super agent. It was a really weird thing for me to say in that moment.
Yeah. Highly accusatory and inquisitive is Delilah early on in the movie. Just, you, I don't fucking trust you. You a
Well, yeah,
super
it
spy.
was
You a
just
this, you
like
that, that,
her
that.
character was completely just was entirely, I'm gonna be your sidekick. Hey, what's up? I'm your sidekick for this movie until you find your son, and then I get pushed to the side real quick.
And even then when he first found the son for a while, she's with him telling the son to stay the fuck home.
Yeah, that's true.
And hell, even Momo had that moment where he told him to stay home too, and they had to because Momo becomes the driver, the brother, becomes the
Yeah.
driver for them. And so there's the point with the stripper pole where they leave them there. They're like, nah, this is for your own safety. Also, because the government is really looking for you. And they're looking for me, but they know how to find you. So stay your ass here. And yeah, they just keep going, no, we're his sidekicks, not you.
Yeah,
We're
that's true.
leaving. And then he falls off the stripper pole trying to like to be fair, when he first had to do his first hint of Secret Service type shit, he broke off of the strip pole and everything. He hit his head, but that's just funny. But yeah, and
Had
he
that fight with the two
with the two
acrobats
dudes,
in gold bikinis.
yeah, in the bathroom.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the bathroom beat down with them. And then obviously by the end it was father and son. I did think it was funny after you have the reveal that I'm your dad, and he gets mad because John Claude was lying the whole time. He was nervous to talk to him about it. Uh, when he first tries to like talk to him on the steps, and he just gives him some random story about being trapped in a car and thrown off a cliff. I'm like, this is the worst thing to just randomly tell your son right now, who's upset at you. Just like when I was trapped in a cliff and thrown off, and so and so so and so. I thought about you, and it gave me the power to break the chains with my teeth. 3 molars were lost that day, but I was able to come here. Yeah, well, my mom was dying of cancer. Where were you? Getting tortured in Gaboo. I just thought of with this. You probably should have led with, I'm sorry I missed your mom's funeral. I was being tortured, not just one day I was thrown in a trunk and thrown off a cliff. Like, what the fuck is that got to do with anything?
Like I admit that I wasn't ready for a family and I didn't come home, but I also put you and your mother in a position where you were going to be safe for the rest of your lives and paid handsomely for the rest
Yeah,
of your lives.
yeah. I set you up for success. Like, and apparently we find out later, kept visiting throughout his life anyway, just didn't say nothing.
Yeah,
Like he didn't see the mom in the hospital, but he was there for the funeral,
I'm
and he gave
surprised
him
after
a
they revealed
keepsake.
that. I'm surprised there wasn't any kind of dialogue early in the movie of him being like, "Do I recognize you? I feel like I've seen you before." Because, like, you have a very, very poignant moment with the child at his mother's funeral
Where you give him a thingy that he still hangs on his mirror to this day.
where you basically look exactly like you do right now. Um,
Also
almost
true.
wearing the same outfit as when you meet him. Um,
You would
hat,
think.
hat and shirt kind of thing.
Like
Uh,
if I hung something on my mirror, I would know where I got it. That's all I'm saying. And I would know I'd be, especially if it was something like on the day of my mother's funeral, a man walked up to me, consoled me, and gave me this thing. And I've held on to it for the rest of my life.
didn't say one word. Stared at me for a while, walked away. You remember that for the rest of your life.
But yeah, we get to the final thing. We get to arcade fight, which was fun in and of its own self. And we had the moment where they tried to do the the bait and switch, where Son pretended to be Scarface dude, while John Claude decided he was gonna be the female companion or whatever. It kept being like, "Hold me, now caress my hair." Wait, what?
Touch
No,
me.
touch me. I don't want to do this, man.
Weird. Yeah.
And then when the dude started coming over, he's like, "Well, I guess we're gonna back off now." Then the dude, visual gag with that. Um, but yeah, we get the fight. We get the lady coming up acting like she's gonna save us. Reveal that she's been evil the whole time. Uh, and yeah, we think everything's that they're about to get away. Fucking, you slept with my wife, dude shows up with his little makeshift gun thing that I'm not sure what the fuck that was supposed to be, but it's a gun of some sorts. John Claude was trying to tell him that, hey, the evil people are behind you, but he's not listening. Also, I like that Jean-Claude was able to just get $30 million because he did a favor at the very beginning of the movie. The guy he saves at the beginning of the movie's dad was like, yeah, you need $30 million here. You need it just to pretend that you're giving it away for a fake deal. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
But no,
Ukrainian
they
oligarchs, man.
yeah, everything gets revealed. The I don't want to use that word, but the dude that got his wife slept with by John Claude, he gets shot. Uh he gets
What
shot.
word?
Um yeah, he gets
Is it
shot.
cuck?
Huh? Yeah, something along those lines. Uh shit. Well, you know, the Brad Maddox type.
Again,
Anyway,
like
we're moving on.
much like the end of the movie. The scene is it gets a little wonky when they. I feel like at one point they were like, "Shit, we're already making a 2 hour movie, guys." Um, fucking and then they're just like,
Yeah.
"We gotta finish this."
She shoots him, but it was a bulletproof tuxedo. And they get revealed and we kind of just wrap it
The
up.
brother stalls them, so then Jean-Claude and the crew can come back, and they're like, "Hey, we're in front of you now," and then she's like, "Knife," and then but then we get the and
Yeah.
boom, and then the EMP that we've already talked about is very dangerous to use, can cause collateral damage. Uh, our main protagonist winks and smiles at the camera and boom.
And the government wants them to turn it over now that they've caught the culprits. He's just like, and walks away by himself.
You have a son. You're not gonna say goodbye? Is that it?
Walks away, and then the credits happen. I'm not sure if you watched the credits and saw some of the scenes in that. There were
Oh
a
no.
couple, yeah, there were a couple shots of people receiving the phone call that the goose is out of the freezer, which is something they mentioned earlier in the movie. But you see a couple people getting like, the goose is out of the freezer. Oh shit. Or another guy that's like, ah, son of a bitch. And I'm like, that's a random thing. And then we get our post-credit scene, which involves Delilah giving birth, and it's revealed that it's Archie's kid. And then the doctor looks up and goes, "Congratulations on your baby boy." And it's John Claude. And the dude being like, "What the hell, man? Don't stop looking there. Get out of here." And he's like, "I always told you I'd be there for every important moment of your life." And then it's over. Yeah, I'm like, what? It's so random.
Were they like hoping that this would be like Jean-Claude's John Wick?
Maybe, I don't
They're
know.
like building for sequels,
Yeah, they're
showing
like
these
the
other
that's how I felt the
side
goose out of
characters
the
that they were gonna start
that's how I
branching
felt.
out to and shit.
That or it was they meant to show those things earlier to build up the idea and just didn't fit it early in the movie, so they just put it in the credits while fucking one way or another plays for the 13th time. But no, I think I pretty much touched on a lot of the stand-up moments for me because I touched on him getting mad at the son. He got real serious acting for that part where he's like, "I wanted a son that was strong." He has this thing where when he's trying to be serious actor, the face scrunch, very powerful word at the start, and just. But no, that was the movie. What did you think of the last Mercenary, Bill?
I thought it was I thought it was interesting. I enjoyed my time. Um I think you got to be into Jean-Claude to like I'm glad I didn't force this upon or I
Yeah,
like I kind of told my wife like you don't need to go down this one because she'll watch a Jean-Claude movie for just like the
yeah,
80s aesthetic of it and like the goofiness sometimes that comes with a Jean-Claude. Uh, um, but yeah, this is I feel like this is a Jean-Claude deep cut that you got to be into Jean-Claude if you're going to
pretty
find your
much.
enjoyment out of it.
No, that's entirely fair. Yeah, I didn't think it was one of the better, like, obviously it's not one of his best movies or anything like that. I think you kind of touched on it with the deep cut. I did find in the rewatch that I had fun watching it one way. Oh, God damn it. I was gonna say I had fun watching it one way or another, but I did have fun watching it, whether it was good or bad. I legit laughed at a few points. The ridiculousness of it all in certain moments. Yeah. So I enjoyed myself too. And yeah, I didn't regret, well, I seldom regret what I say on this show or what I suggest, but I didn't regret this one. I was like, you know what? I'm happy that I chose to do this because I enjoyed, like you said, I enjoyed my time watching. That's what this is all about. So what are we going to be enjoying watching our time with next week?
Oh,
Ah,
I did not think about that.
eh,
Let me see. So, a little bit away from maybe doing some Oscar-y shits.
ooh.
Um, so let's keep it in the vibe that we've been going with a little bit here and do Big Trouble in Little China.
All right, looking forward to that. And if you want to look at some of the other stuff we're talking about, like we got plenty of JCVD movies on here. We also have plenty of other movies on here. We got almost 3 years worth of it on this channel. Go check it out. Been releasing it on Tuesdays, on Wednesdays, occasionally, whenever it happens, whenever we want. Whatever we want is a show I do with a good friend of mine, a good friend of the show, Super Jazz. Is it?
Super Jazz.
Thank you very much, as nature intended. And yeah, we talk about just that, whatever we want. On Mondays, we got the show Mock Draft. We just draft various things, have a good time. We also make it very wrestling related. Occasionally, this guy shows up on the screen on that show over there.
Oh, Maury, I couldn't hold back any longer. Super Jazz! You don't know what you're talking about, brother. You're talking. You're talking out of your ass, man. Super Jazz. More like stupid jazz.
Oh,
More like super jizz.
yeah.
I'm coming for you.
All right. Also, I have a Twitter and Twitch at Giotavi, Giotavi. Come on in, stop on by. And you should come and stop by on Saturdays for You Don't Watch Sports. Two guys, three topics. Sprinkle some information in your sports conversation. Be your guiding light through the sea that is sports talk. Live on Saturdays, by the way. Check that out. We'll see you next time with Big Trouble. Little China. Adiosness. Damn it. I'm a go.